So over the past month, I took proud delivery of my brand new Tesla Model Y Performance. And so in today's video, after adding close to 3,000 miles onto this vehicle in less than a month, that just shows you how much I've been enjoying this car. I think it's about time I actually give it its proper review. And so in today's video, I'm gonna go ahead and do exactly that, as I'm gonna go ahead and talk about all the cool things I like about this thing and some of the things that I wish I'd known before purchasing an EV in general. This is my first electric vehicle I ever owned. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about the range anxiety, if that's even irrelevant nowadays, hidden fees, important information all new owners need to know before purchasing a new electric vehicle in general, especially a Tesla, and talk about all the things that I absolutely love about this Model Y. So sit back, relax, and let's go ahead and get started. So upon delivery of my Tesla Model Y, process was extremely easy, like too easy. And literally the checkout process was very similar like how it is when you check out an item on Amazon. As soon as I checked out, within 24 hours, I immediately got a phone call and an email confirming that I now have my VIN number to add it on my insurance policy. And I had the option to either have the vehicle directly delivered to my household or do an express pickup. I opt for the express pickup. Reason being because I recently have moved and it was just more convenient for me to actually go there and pick up the vehicle and drive it back myself. Now, upon arrival to the showroom lot, it was as easy as simply finding your car. They give you the parking space number. You just walk around their parking space, locate it, click on the link that they provide via text message to your phone, download the Tesla app, and you're done. All the important paperwork, all that stuff was already set right there on the passenger side. And they also provide 2 key cards, which is what's used to get in and out of the vehicle. But since it's a Tesla, the cool thing about Teslas is your smartphone is technically your key. Now the Tesla app actually offers a lot that I wasn't expecting it to have. As a fine example, when we launched the app, you can see the battery life percentage right here. You have quick access to the front, the ability to lock and unlock the vehicle, turn on AC climate controls, as you can actually monitor the interior climate right here. When you tap on the battery, you could adjust the battery life percentage right here where you want it to charge on a daily basis. It's recommended to leave it between 90% or 80 to maximize the battery life longevity. But when you're going on a long road trip within a couple hours, Tesla says it's okay to charge it at max, which for the Performance Model Y, which is the one I have, will give us close to 300-mile range. Right now it doesn't show that because based from my driving history, I drive like a loose cannon because I love the acceleration that the Performance is able to provide. I'll go more in detail if you should go with the long range or the Performance, and I'll share my opinions why I went with the Performance model. But continuing back on the app itself, in the controls, you have other things you can do. You can roll down the windows, unlock the vehicle, flash the headlights, honk the horn, start it. If you do the start, it'll give you a 2-minute timer, which will allow anybody have access to the vehicle to move it out of the way in case it's blocking somebody in a parking lot or something and you're out of town. If your buddy calls you and they say, I need to move your car, you can literally launch the app and just start it and they're able to move the vehicle for you. And of course, you also have the access to the trunk. You have valet mode, sentry mode, and speed limit mode in case you do happen to let a youngster borrow your vehicle. You don't want them to speed because for the Performance, this thing does 0-60 in under 4 seconds. It's still mind-blowing. Other things this app is able to provide is charging. We just talked about this. You can also open up the charging port from here as well. Monitor the location, and you have access to other updates that you haven't yet purchased on your vehicle. So since this is the Performance, it already comes standard with heated seats, heated steering wheel. So the only available software updates for the Performance Model Y would be the full self-driving, which I actually have, but I've done the subscription version. For $199, I have full self-driving capabilities, and I'll talk about that in a little bit as well. So after doing a lot of road trips, driving this car a lot within a month, I did start off with the basics Autopilot, and honestly, I think the basic Autopilot is the way to go. It's super convenient, especially when it's just a straight road. The ability to just toggle the shift column downwards twice to activate Autopilot is absolutely amazing when you have to reach something real quick, like a bottle or something that rolled away from your lap and you have to grab. That's usually when I have to use it, when I have to grab something real quick. Just however, phantom braking, I have experienced this. I experienced this like once every 2 weeks while driving. I have no idea what causes this. maybe a glare from the sunlight or something was one of the sensors. Usually when phantom braking occur, the vehicle literally would just brake check. Just slams, just goes down on the brakes really hard to the point where I have to immediately press on the accelerator to prevent myself from getting rear-ended. So yes, always be alert, even while autopilot is engaged, because it's not perfect, not yet, hopefully in the near future. So even though this vehicle, the newer Model Ys, in case you weren't aware, they no longer have radar. Tesla is removing that and focusing more on Tesla Vision, which just utilizes the cameras that Tesla currently have on their cars. And from my personal experience, it's not bad. It actually works extraordinarily well, minus phantom brake. Even while driving at night, it works. The auto high beams, however, do have to be enabled for autopilot to be able to engage. And I gotta say, these new headlights that Tesla innovated on this year Teslas are extraordinarily bright. They're adapted. Okay, so yes, as you see, I did selected the standard white color option, not to save cost, but personally I think white on the Tesla actually looks really nice, especially for the performance with those massive Irvine 21-inch wheels, with those red calibers, and you got the carbon fiber spoiler with that nice drop height and suspension. I think looks absolutely amazing, black and white. And yes, I did added a couple accessories on my Tesla. I went with carbon fiber trim pieces here and there, including the dash. And yes, I did opt for the vegan-friendly white leather interior, which I have ceramic coated. And from driving well over 2,000 miles on this thing, the seats are actually holding very well, which is extremely impressive because, keep this between you and I, but I hate shorts. Don't hate me because of that. I guess that's just my thing. I always wear jeans, and the majority of my jeans are blue, and they haven't yet stained the seats. So they passed the jeans tests, but I have ceramic coated them to prevent them from easily getting stains over time. But to the most part, they're holding up extremely well. And yes, I have had passengers in the back seats eating and such, and they have spilled a drink, but again, there's no stain, so they're holding up extremely well. So right now, if you go on Tesla's website, the full purchase price right now, after future Tesla price adjustments, you could buy a long-range Tesla for $53,990. The performance model only went up $1,000 from when I ordered it, and it's $60,990. Now, out of pocket, how much it cost me in total was the options and such. All I really opt for was the white seats. Came out to be $62,290. And then with sell tax, that brought it up to $66,806. So that's exactly how much I paid for mine, minus the $100 deposit. And interesting things that I found out about it upon delivery is, yes, the rear windows do come tint, including the glass top roof, which absolutely looks amazing, but does definitely feel like it heats up the interior a lot more. So I'm always constantly running the AC. But thankfully, Teslas do have the interior cabinet protection, which basically what it does, it will allow the vehicle to always monitor the interior. So if it meets the certain temperature, the AC will kick in to make sure everything stays cool. And talking about the interior is actually extraordinarily roomy. Of course, it doesn't look no different than a Model 3. Just the seats are raised a lot higher to accumulate that it is a crossover SUV. But compared to a Model 3, there's a lot of cargo space in here. As the front not only adds additional storage, but even in the far back, since it isn't the seven seat option, I have plenty of space for a bunch of storage, and I absolutely love it. I already made a couple of hauls to Home Depot, and I was able to fit everything inside. The rear cargo area does have a button back here that allows you to fold the seats back. And since we're still talking about the interior, important things to note is that the newer Teslas now have the newer center console update, which means you still have wireless charging capabilities for wireless charging supported smartphones over here. The material is Alcantara, which feels absolutely nice. The entire center console has a little more details than the previous center console, and is nice to touch as well. There's a lot of storage in it. You have a lot of storage in here, and then you got additional storage back here. There is 2 USB-C ports for the driver and passenger sides, and then in the back seats, you also have 2 additional USB-C ports back here for your rear passengers, as well as vents. And yes, even though this is a high-tech vehicle, you still have traditional 12-volt outlets right here, which I use the front ones to power on my radar detector. And you also have a additional 12-volt outlet in the rear cargo area. Both driver and passenger sides are controlled, which means you could adjust them automatically with the buttons on the side. Just however, the driver side is the only driver seat that actually has lumbar support. Passenger side, Tesla decided to remove them, which none of my passengers even realize nor complain to me about not having lumbar support on their ends. So my passengers haven't yet said anything about the lack of having a lumbar support for them. Now the software side of things. Literally this car, honestly, this car is a meme on wheels. All right. Since I opt for the performance model, the acceleration that this thing has is mind-blowing. Even to this very day, I love driving this thing. It handles extraordinarily well for a crossover SUV, but it handles pretty close to like a modern day muscle car. The center of gravity is absolutely amazing, which is why the NHTSA have shown that this vehicle is absolutely impossible to flip, which is why I got 5-star ratings on across everything. So yeah, it's cool to know that this is the top 3 or something like that safest vehicle on the road, which the top 3 is actually other Tesla vehicles as well. But in the software side of things, there's a lot of awesome mini games. So whenever you're at a supercharger charging or just bored in the parking lot, run the AC, play some games, watch movies, swap your turn signals to play fart noises whenever you signal to make your passengers laugh. It's even more ridiculous that it could smoke Bentleys, modify Mustangs. Honestly, this car is a joke and I love it. But besides being the ultimate vehicle with the best entertainment system inside, I like the fact that everything is personalizable. Literally every single setting inside the car, you're able to adjust. Like if you want your mirrors to automatically fold within a certain location, let's say for example, you have a narrow driveway, you can program the vehicle auto folding mirrors to always fold down in this GPS location. So you don't have to go into the settings and do that. Or you can have it like how I have it, where when I get in my vehicle, mirrors will automatically fold out. And when I lock it, it'll fold in. I also have it so that it honks too, so I can actually hear it when it locks, so I know that the vehicle did lock as soon as I walk away from the car. Literally, whenever I pull up in a parking lot, I literally just park and just walk out of the vehicle and the car locks everything up for me, including it will also roll up the windows in case I leave one down. That's another setting you can also adjust. Literally everything is fully customizable, and now even the auto mirror dimming is now a feature you could also enable or disable. I didn't know this was the thing. I thought this was just a laminate filter on the mirrors, but apparently this is all software as well, and you could adjust this to your preference. And that was just a recent update too. This Tesla is literally like a mobile device, as Tesla just continue rolling out new updates that will give this vehicle more features. I'm telling you, everything is fully customizable. This is stuff that you expect to find on German vehicles or high-end luxury vehicles. This thing does have those luxurious features, but they do a much better since, again, everything is just fully customizable. Now, important things that every new Tesla owner must know about is charging. There is a Tesla etiquette whenever you're supercharging. As a fine example, if you're using version 1 and version 2, it's recommended to charge your vehicle with one space away from the other charging station. Because if you see a supercharger station that is labeled A1 and then next to it's A2, and then A1 is occupied, charge on the next alphabetical station that's available that has both 1 and 2 free. Because if you charge next to the A1 and you start charging your Tesla on the A2, you basically just cut the power delivery in half. So you're splitting the energy between those two stations. Now, from my understanding, version 3 charges at a much higher rate at 250 kilowatts, and soon to be updated to be able to support 300, according to Tesla, to charge this vehicle at a much faster rate. Those stations, it's okay. They don't share the grid like they used to. Those ones you can park next to another station right next to that one. But that's just a quick rundown of Tesla etiquette when charging at a supercharger. And this is where Tesla shines. Out of all the EVs out there, I've driven Nissan Leafs, I've driven the BMW i8 and the i3, Tesla has their charging stations down. Not once have I experienced any technical difficulty where the Tesla charger wasn't able to communicate with my vehicle. It communicates all the time. I just plug it in and it just automatically bills whatever credit card I have linked to my Tesla account. And I also like the fact that it gives you additional information like how many Tesla chargers are available at that location. It will show you a little number right here. So this one has this amount available and this one doesn't. And it also shows you the rates. And on top, you'll also see the different volts, the little lightning bolt icons. This basically just indicates version 1, version 2, and version 3. Version 3s, of course, are the fast ones, and their latest ones, and those are my favorite. And since we're on the topic of superchargers, the range anxiety. Let me go ahead and share with you my experience with that. There's absolutely no range anxiety. That's the last thing on my mind nowadays. But there's one thing that really does bug me about Teslas. Whenever you set a destination, I like that the Tesla navigation, which by the way is absolutely amazing, super friendly, is on par with Apple CarPlay in terms of if you're using Apple Maps or Google. The navigation system that Tesla has on their vehicle is on par to that. It's super convenient, and they label everything correctly where you know which lane you gotta be in. So the built-in navigation in all Teslas are really good. But back to what I was saying, whenever you plan a route, it tells you the amount of time you have to stop at each station, and will also tell you the amount of charge percent you'll be left as soon as you arrive at that destination. The thing I noticed about them, since Teslas, well, all electric vehicles in general, they charge faster when you're in the middle in the battery life range. So if you have like 40% or 50% in about 10 or 5 minutes, you'll easily add like a 100-mile range. The fuller the battery, the slower the internal vehicle battery charges. That's the thing you gotta keep in mind. So yes, there are times where I do add 100 miles to my vehicle in under 10 minutes. And then there's times where if I charge at 80%, this will take 20 minutes. So it's best to follow the screen navigation, but a thing I don't like is when you arrive at your destination, you're sometimes just left with 10% battery, and honestly that's not good. So on my last charging station, I usually charge 10 minutes more. This way I have enough juice to get back to another supercharge station without worrying about range anxiety. Now, a thing that all owners need to know about, I'm gonna make a full dedicated video on this as well. The hidden fees if you're installing a Tesla charger in your household. I believe this is level 2. Yeah, this is called a level 2 charger. So this is the Tesla wall charger, and in total, this unit itself is $500 plus taxes, which brought it up to $130 for my area. And then the installation fee was $1,000, but this is the real kicker. Depending on the county and the city that you live in, you may be required to buy a city permit. So I had to buy that, and in total was another $500. So it cost me $2,000 to have this installed in my household. Now, if I went with the NEMA route, which is the same outlet that your typical dryer will use, I would have been able to save $500. Now this could charge every hour at 48 amps, be able to deliver 40 miles of range. If I went with the NEMA route, it charges at a lower ampage, but it still is able to deliver up to 30 miles per hour range. So saving $500 might have been worth it if I went with the NEMA route. And the con with the wall charger, if you go with the Tesla route, is it only will work with Teslas. Well, of course it's gonna be recommended unless you buy an adapter or something like that, but that just becomes complicated. So in other words, I'm stuck with Teslas. Where if I went with the NEMA route, I would be able to charge other electric vehicles. Now this is perfect if you're a homeowner, since this is your household, but if you're renting, you might be better off just continuing using the house outlet and just use superchargers, unless you're okay and willing to spend $1,000. If so, then a NEMA route might be the best option in my opinion, because this one, I'm stuck with Tesla. Now all Teslas do come with the standard wall charger, which per hour this should be able to deliver 5 miles per hour. So if you're charging it this way, you can do this. But if you do have access to a NEMA outlet, again, you just pick up this $35 adapter, it plugs and play, and should be able to deliver up to 30 miles per hour instead, a significant upgrade. So do research before you decide which home charger system you want for your Tesla and which one's the best one for you. I'm gonna make a full, more detailed video about this in the near future, so make sure you are subscribed. But that's just a quick rundown on how much this cost me in order to charge this at home. Now, the realistic range I'm able to get on my Tesla, it is said for the performance to be able to achieve up to 303 miles under a single charge at max. But for my real world experience with a lot of highway driving, I usually come close to 250, which isn't all bad. Because as you saw, I added a lot of mileage within the first month. Now, the quality control. Yeah, the quality control is true about Teslas. There was a couple of quality control issues I was experiencing on mine. First of all, the most annoying one was that the fact that the carbon fiber spoiler that the performance Tesla model trim piece or additions or whatever you call it, this carbon fiber spoiler on mine was already coming undone. But scheduling an appointment with Tesla was extremely easy with the mobile app. They literally send their mobile service to my household. The dude was really cool, swapped it out with a brand new one in a matter of minutes. Now there's other imperfections that I discovered on my Tesla that I'm probably just gonna leave because I don't want things to get worse, is the fenders on both the right and left side. You can see that one side has a nice gap, where was the other side, the gap is extremely big and noticeable. Unfortunately, I'm gonna go ahead and leave this because, again, I know I could schedule an appointment to get this aligned, but at the same time, I'm kind of afraid. Every time from my past experience where I have dealerships or somebody get their hands on correct certain parts like this, usually they break something or damage something, they just try to hide it. So it's not worth that risk. And honestly, I think this is cool because at the same time, this is also a conversation starter. So if I ever take this thing to Cars and Coffee, say hi if you see me, but I'm sure I could use this as a conversation starter just to demonstrate, yeah, Tesla quality control is real. And another quality control issue I found is that inside the hood, well, the front, I should say, there's a scratch right here. This wasn't done by me. This was obviously done from factory because why would I scratch it here, especially since I hardly use the front. I only use it when I'm holding food and such like that, where I don't want to stink up the interior. I doubt a bag of groceries will be enough to leave this type of mark right here inside the hood. The quality control issue on Tesla is real and still is current. It's just not as bad as it used to be. Now, the full self-driving subscription. I did opt for it because I was curious. I didn't pay the $10,000. I just got the subscription, which means in about 1 year, if I continue having the subscription, I would pay $2,760, which is a lot better than $10K. And the cool thing about that, it's not an annual subscription. There's no contract, there's no agreement. So I could cancel whenever I want and renew in the near future if I feel like it. So if there's a long road trip that I know I want to go ahead and have this enabled for highway driving, I could easily do so. But for my first-hand experience, this is where it shines. It's honestly not really necessary. Again, the basic autopilot was more than enough for my needs. I would basically just describe the basic autopilot as an advanced cruise control, as the vehicle will keep itself self-centered and adjust its speed, so it will always stay aware of its surrounding, which is quite nice. Now, if you are subscribed to the full self-driving, it is able to lane change with you confirming that it's clear with the turn signal, so you no longer have to disable autopilot, change lanes, and re-enable it. If there's a highway that you're following, the vehicle will automatically exit that highway and merge onto the other freeway, all on its own. And whenever your exit's coming by, the vehicle will actually signal automatically as well and exit for you. I find this feature extremely useful, especially when you're driving on a highway that you're unfamiliar with. The vehicle will know exactly what lane it needs to be on and when to take its exit. But again, I have experienced phantom braking, so it's not full autonomy yet. It still requires a lot of driver awareness. So always be prepared to take control of the wheel. Other features that it has is it does have summon mode, which does an okay job in an empty parking lot in picking you up, but it's not really a feature that I would actually rely on, as one time it did get stuck in the middle of the road and I had to run over there because it was a vehicle that was blocking that was trying to back up. So I had to run and grab the vehicle and cancel summon. So I don't recommend using summon in a populated area. But a cool tool that I do find extremely useful, summoning, but just to make the vehicle go forward and back. There's been a couple of times where I park incorrectly or I have too much of an empty gap. I literally just launch the app, tell the vehicle to move back a bit more, and then just release, and there you go. I don't have to get in my vehicle to fix myself from my parking mistakes. So all in all, I mean, I really do like this Tesla Model Y. Out of all the vehicles I've owned, and to give you a brief summary, I own a Chevy Camaro, I own a Ford Raptor, I've driven the brand new Escalades, I've driven supercars, I've driven the BMW i8, Corvettes. I drove a lot of cars in my past careers. And out of all of them, I really do like driving the Model Y the most, especially the performance. Now, it's your call if you decide you want the long range or the performance. They're less than $10,000 apart, but if you need that 7-seater option, the long range does have that option. The performance doesn't, unfortunately. I'm unaware why, but the reason why I went with the performance than the long range is because the differences between the mileage is literally only 20 miles apart from each other, but that's not that much. And I went with the Model Y performance because if I'm buying an EV, if I'm making the transition from a combustion engine to an EV, I want to take full advantage of that instant torque, because trust me, it definitely is different, especially since there's no gearbox in the middle. As soon as you put your foot down on the acceleration pedal, it just goes. It's literally like an on and off switch. There's no downshifting involved or anything like that. It just accelerates. It's one gear and it just goes. So that's the reason why I went with the performance. And it might be something you want to consider as well. So I highly recommend, if you can, if you're debating between the long range or the performance, try to find somebody who owns one, or see if you can schedule a test drive, because that was what originally sold me. And yes, although the performance does receive bigger brake calibers, I hardly even use them, but it is good to know that it does have additional stopping power. But again, that one pedal driving that electric vehicles have works extremely perfect on the Model Y. I love that a lot. Works extremely well on the Model Y, which is also customizable, but I highly recommend having this on, because this technically is what makes an EV vehicle an EV vehicle. Take full advantage of that regen braking. So even though I have these oversized brake calibers that I rarely use, it's good to know that I do have the additional braking power in case of an emergency. So there you guys have it. That is the review of my 1 month ownership experience of the Tesla Model Y. So yes, this came out to be a much longer vehicle. So if you got some good usage information out of this video, I would really appreciate it if you could not only leave this video a like or get subscribed, as I got more Tesla videos or tech videos in general coming out very similar to this. But also, if you're purchasing one, to definitely use my referral code, especially if I helped you out in any way. If you purchase your Tesla with that referral code, we both benefit. As you and I, we both get 1,000 miles of free supercharging. So definitely do take advantage of that, as it benefits both of us. So if you could use that link, I would really appreciate it. If you'd like to watch a past Tesla video I made, check out this video over here as I highlight additional changes that the 2021 Model Y received. And then that video over there, that's just my favorite settings that every new Tesla owner needs to adjust and enable, so you can really get the most out of your Tesla. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you all in our next one. See ya.